Well, good morning, everyone. We are up and at 'em this morning and in the beautiful Smoky Mountain National Park, and just my favorite place in the whole world. And we're here, and we're in Elkmont, and we're going to do some walking and see what all we can find here. This is a place we've not been before here in Elkmont. This marker talks about a rare mountain forest, about some of the things that are growing here in the Smokies. We're just going to do a little bit of walking, see what we can locate. This is called the Elkmont Historic District Appalachian Club. So it says, what is Elkmont? These vacant buildings were once part of the Appalachian Club vacation community. This community grew up adjacent to the former logging town of Elkmont when the Little River Company sold land to individuals to create a private social club. What began as a gentleman's hunting club soon developed as a place for affluent Knoxville families to escape oppressive urban summers. The present-day campground exists where the original town was located. So why are these buildings here and why are they empty? When the states of Tennessee and North Carolina were acquiring property for the creation of Great Smoky Mountains National Park in the 1920s and 30s, most farms and homes of the mountain people were purchased outright and residents were required to vacate upon transfer of property. Club town residents were able to negotiate lesser payments in exchange for lifetime leases on these properties. Leases for all but two expired in 1992, with the last two ending in 2001. So what will happen here in the future? The park's 1982 General Management Plan calls for all structures to be removed upon expiration of leases and the area to be returned to a natural state. In 1994, Elkmont was listed on the National Register of Historic Places as a historic district, affording the district special status. The park is currently conducting an environmental impact statement to determine the future management of this district. And you can go online to learn more at that website there. I'm not quite sure what would have been here. It's like part of a wall and some pillars. We're just exploring this little area. It's so beautiful here. Can you hear the water? I just can't get enough of this area. Okay, this says the Spence Cabin. The cabins constructed in this area of Elkmont, called Millionaire's Row, were developed toward the end of the lumbering boom on prime real estate along the river. Somewhat removed from the more densely populated Daisy Town, these cabins offered more privacy for their owners and ready access to the community swimming hole. The Spence Cabin was one of the largest and most impressive. Constructed in 1928 for Alice Townsend, the third wife of Colonel W.B. Townsend, the house was originally called River Lodge. There, see, Colonel W.B. Townsend, president of the Little River Lumber Company, had successful lumbering and railroad operations in Pennsylvania and Kentucky before coming to Tennessee. After the formation of the national park in 1934, lifetime leases were negotiated that allowed families to continue to spend summers vacationing in Elkmont. In 2001, the last of the leases expired, and the last leaseholders of these cabins were the Spence family from Knoxville. Some of the larger, more well-appointed cabins were located along the Little River in what was referred to by some as Millionaire's Row. The residents included high-ranking officials of the Little River Lumber Company and Railroad. The Appalachian Club swimming hole was located just below the Spence cabin. So let's walk around here. I can hear the water. I will try to be more careful as I walk, because the last thing I need to do is fall again. If the weather was a little bit warmer, you would probably find me with my feet in that river. But it's kind of chilly this morning. And we have driven just a little bit further up the road, so I didn't have to walk very far. And we are here at what is the main group of buildings. They're working on some structures, as you can see here. So let's go over here and look at this sign. Alright, this says back to nature. In this small valley, where the Little River and Jakes Creek converge, lie the vestiges of Daisy Town, one of several resort enclaves established in the early 20th century by urban dwellers who craved the natural beauty and refreshing climate of the Great Smoky Mountains. As you look down this road lined with cottages, imagine a time 100 years ago when visitors arrived by rail seeking refuge from the pollution and sweltering heat of the city. This summer resort community offered a temporary escape from day-to-day routines and responsibilities. Families played outdoor sports, socialized at the clubhouse, or relaxed on their porches. This quote here says, "I tell you something about Elkmont. It's a magical place. When I come up here, I feel close to God. I love this place, my favorite place in the world to be." Eddie Tipton, Elkmont resident. Some of the buildings are open where you can go in, like this one here. These cabins have large wraparound porches. Would be great for sitting out under the trees here. And the cabins are all fairly similar, although they have some of the same look about them. Let's see who this pretty little cabin belonged to. This is number 11. And the owner in 1919 was Daniel Briscoe, Ford dealer, and his wife Annie. Retained family ownership to the end. Daughter Charlotte, Mrs. Oscar Scruggs, was final leaseholder. Okay, this marker talks about Daisy Town's eclectic architecture. The buildings you see along this shaded street are a hodgepodge of designs. These rustic cabins were built by city dwellers inspired by the Back to Nature movement, influenced by the craftsman style of architecture, which emphasized simplicity and the use of natural materials. Some cabins are made of board and batten, while others use rough-hewn logs. Outdoor living spaces such as large porches brought nature into these mountain retreats. Rustic design continued in the interior with exposed wood ceilings, walls, and floors. So this cabin, which is that one back there, was originally built in 1830 along Jakes Creek as a one-story log house. It is one of the oldest buildings in the region. It used to belong to longtime resident Levi Trentham and was dismantled, moved behind the Mayo cabin, and remodeled to serve as a guest house in 1932. Some cabins along the street, like those you see in this picture, were adapted from railroad set-off houses. Their original use was temporary mobile housing for their timber workers and their families. It says Elkmont architecture is eclectic. While most of the cabins reflect characteristics of the craftsman's style, all have been changed over the years, repaired and remodeled to suit individual needs. Okay, this is number 9. The owner in 1919 was Eugene Gallion, Gallion Lumber Company, owned by his family until December 1992. Daughter Hallie visited often through the 90s. In all the years I've been coming to the Smokies, since I was a child, never knew this part of the history of this area. Never been here. Okay, this is number 7. The owner in 1920 was Mrs. W.B. Townsend, originally built of set-off houses for Colonel Townsend to oversee operations and hunt and fish. The next owner was Del R. Mayo, businessman, and had a seed store. Through their children, their lease expired in 2001. One of 3 cabins that had leases to that time. Okay, this is number 5 and number 5A. Owner in the 1920 was W.E. Jums. His wife Mabel was Colonel Townsend's daughter. The next owner, Carrie Spence, soldier, owner of Spence Trunk and Leather, Knoxville postmaster, first president of the Appalachian Club. Their children, daughter Eleanor and son Shirley, owned the Spence cabin on Millionaire's Row. The next owner was Frank Addicks. The small cabin to the left is a little girl's playhouse, built by Colonel Townsend for his daughter Margaret in 1921. See if I can walk over here and get you. Oh, is that not cute? What little girl would not love a little playhouse like that? Even has its own little, well, I'm sure not a well, but a pretend well in the front yard. That is so cute. So that's why you see a mixture of styles and materials in there that are even more modern to us, is because people were still coming here. They were still using these buildings. All right, this is number 3. The owner in 1919 was David Campbell Boykin, railroad agent, and then auto dealer. The next owner, E.V. and Rosanna Farrell, realtors, and the next resident, Lee Higdon, and his sister Midge, Appalachian Club caretaker from 1949. Now, this one looks fairly modern, this structure here. Even though it's a log cabin like exterior. This is number 1, Wild Rose, owner 1910, Weston Miller Fulton, inventor and politician. Fulton High School in Knoxville was named for him. Next owner, Leonard Schuerman, PhD in physics, construction manager, then dean of civil engineering at Vanderbilt. The next owner was William Smith. The final owner until lease expired in 1992 was R.R. Sneed. Okay, this is the Appalachian Clubhouse there. That's where town would come and have all of their social events and all of that. I'll go up here and give you an idea. This is a building that we cannot go in, but I want to show it to you. And then let's read a little bit about it here. By the way, you can kind of see a little bit through there. That's the Elkmont campground. And a lot of the land that belonged to the Appalachian Club is now part of this campground up there. The Appalachian Clubhouse was once the heart of a resort community that grew up here, one of many southern Appalachian resorts that thrived in the early 20th century. The Little River Lumber Company began promoting this area for development, even as it was logging the surrounding hillsides. In 1910, 50 acres were deeded to a group of civic and business leaders who wanted to establish a sportsman's club. Over time, the club became more social, and its members included many of Knoxville's commercial and civic elite. The Appalachian Clubhouse doubled as a hotel for members and their guests, serving as the social hub that tied Daisytown, Millionaires Row, and Society Hill together. In fact, many former residents referred to the entire area as Clubtown. There's a picture there, board games or cards. On the porch, poetry readings and children's pageants, festive dinner gatherings. It's not hard to imagine life here at the height of vacation season. And then this is a picture of the original clubhouse, shown here in 1925, burned and was replaced by the current building in 1934. See that? It's kind of hard to read some of this, but the train from Knoxville made 8 stops along the way, arriving in Elkmont 3 hours later. The last stop on the line was the Appalachian Club. There's the clubhouse that we just walked past. And here, restoring the past. The homes of Daisytown represent early traces of local tourism and the birth of the national park idea in the East. Today, Great Smoky Mountains National Park actively works to maintain, preserve, and restore these, and more than 100 other historic buildings park-wide that each convey their own story. The Historic Preservation Crew, a small group of uniquely talented professionals, use traditional techniques and materials to rehabilitate deteriorating buildings. Inspired by the crew's artistry and public interest in preserving Appalachian culture, the park's philanthropic partner, Friends of the Smokies, formed the Forever Places program. Your donation to Forever Places will ensure these structures are preserved for posterity. And it shows some pictures of them restoring and paying close attention to details to get them right. And it shows, this is the Higdon cabin into March 2017 before renovation. Here's the Higdon cabin after renovation. This is the Smith Cabin, March 2017, before renovation. And the Smith Cabin after renovation. The Addicts Cabin before renovation. And the Addicts Cabin after renovation. So they've done some really good work, and you can see a couple of the houses are blocked off, and that's because they are still working on restoring those. Oh, okay. Alright, this is house number 2. The owner, 1919, is Iva Cochran Murphy, wife of the superintendent of the Little River Railroad Company. The next owner, Ernest Keller, businessman. Next owner, Guy Smith, the newspaper publisher. And it stayed in the Smith family until expiration. Alright, this is number 4. It's built in 1919 by J. Wiley Brownlee, banker and developer. Next owner was Charles Swan. The last name on the lease was their son, Buddy Swan.
That wouldn't have been original.
Number 6, nicknamed Deer Lodge. Built in 1919 by Walter Van Gilder, president of Knoxville Glass Company. The next owner, Evelyn Louise Creekmore, husband was an attorney. Retained family lease to the inn. Van Gilder granddaughter succeeded in getting Elkmont cabins and other buildings on the National Historic Registry in 1994. But this is looks like about the last building we can actually go into, because the other is being worked on. Alright, this is number 8. It's built in 1915, leased in 1919 to Dr. C.H. Gordon, UT professor. Next owner, Benjamin Andy Morton, son of the former mayor of Knoxville. And the next owner was Francis Kane, an attorney. Alright, so we've been to all of the buildings that we can actually go in. I assume at some point they will be reopening that one. Looks like that one might be a 2-story place there. And then they're working on another 1 or 2 down there at the beginning of the road. So this has been Daisytown. It's been quite interesting. I never knew this was here, and that really surprises me as long as I've been coming here to the Smokies. But it's always great to learn something new, to find a new bit of history that you had no clue about. And kudos to the National Park Service for maintaining and updating these buildings and the history involved. So we'll catch you later. Next time we have an adventure, bring you along with us. Until then, see you later.
I think that's more of a meeting place. I don't know. That might be one of the buildings.
I don't even know if you get to it from this trail. We're not doing any strenuous hiking this time because I'm just not physically able to do that. But broke it.
It said gimbal protected, tap to resume, so it. Did you do trip over that rock?
I don't know.
Well,
Is it working?
yes.
I didn't scratch up the... Okay, y'all, you got to see that flying event. That was me falling. Camera seems to have not been broken. I can't say enough for me. I have fallen enough lately for for now. Oh.